Thanks for stopping by today. This is Craig with Hurry Up Pinball, and today I'm going to show you how to build your own custom Playfield lights. You can see I've got these lights installed on several of my machines. I've been building these lights for about a year, and I built about 10 sets of Playfield lights. So today I'm going to walk you through the process of building the lights. I'm going to put together a list of the materials that you're going to need. All the materials for this are available on Amazon. I'm going to link them in the descriptions. I'm going to make two versions of this video. I'm going to make a long version, which is I'm going to call the extended version. It's going to be everything. I'm going to walk you through the entire process. I know there's some folks out there that like the short and sweet version, so I'm going to do a high-speed version of this video with not much dialogue in it. It's going to be sped up, so you can just watch the process of how I build the lights and see if it's something that you want to tackle. Again, this only takes about 30 minutes to build a set of lights, and it takes about 30 minutes to install the lights. The great thing about these lights is you have the ability to change the colors. It does have independent colored and white lights on there, so you can toggle one or the other off. You can change the intensity of the colored lights or the intensity of the white lights as well. You can see over here I just got a new Jurassic Park Pro came in about 2 days ago, and the first thing I'm going to do for it, other than play it, is I'm going to build a set of pinball lights for it. I really like to play in the dark. I like to throw on some music, and these lights are fantastic for that because you can see everything really vibrant, and it makes for great streaming as well. So sit back, hope you enjoy this video, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page under Hurry Up Pinball, and if you like what you saw today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. Craig here with Hurry Up Pinball, and today I'm going to show you how to build custom-made lights for your pinball machines. I like to play my machines in the dark, so when I turn the lights out, it's pretty hard to see, especially on a lot of the new machines. So this is a perfect option. This is probably my 10th set of lights that I've built. I've been putting on a lot of different machines around the house, and they work great. I think all in we're at about $50, $52. All of this stuff is available on Amazon.com, and it'll take about 30 minutes to put the lights together. And we're going to go through all the steps today. I'm going to show you how we do it. So first off, this is the Super Night set. You can order this set. I think it's about $25 on Amazon. You're going to get a remote. You're going to get a huge strip of lights. It comes in a bag, looks like this. So you're going to end up making some cuts to the LED strip. Now this will have connectors on the end of it. So you can see here, I've made this one myself. I have so many extra rolls of LED lights. I bought this piece right here, which is the 5-wire connector. I soldered those on there myself, and then I put a little heat wrap on it. So I just had so much lights, I figured, I could probably spend $3 or $4, solder them on there myself, and then have lots of strips. So whenever I'm ready to build some new lights, I already have most of the stuff. So in the Super Night set, you're going to get a roll of LEDs, and this is going to have connectors on both ends. So if you're not good at soldering, you've never done it before, you don't have the items to do it, you can simply take this roll, unwind the whole thing, and then you're going to cut off both ends, and both ends will have a connector, so you won't have to do any soldering if you're going to build these lights. So you're going to have your remote. Now the nice thing about these lights is they are both white lights where you can change the intensity on the white light, and you can also turn the white light off, and it also has colored lights, which you can change the intensity on. Now, when you use this, there's a lot of different color options that you can put on the pinball machines. But with this particular one, this is line of sight. So you'll see right here, we have our sensor. So this is the connector which connects to the lights. This is the sensor. So this little sensor right here, I typically put it on the backboard in the pinball machine. I find a creative spot with some extreme double-sided sticky tape. You can kind of tuck it away. On my Gusbusters machine, I have it tucked in the back corner behind the buildings. So I just kind of hold the remote up over the glass, and you can turn it on and off. And again, what's really nice is you don't have to turn these lights on if you don't want to. They're going to be powered by this. Some pinball lights are actually run off the Playfield. I like to have mine separate. That way I can turn them on or off. If I don't want them on, then I just won't turn them on. And it does draw power from this power supply that comes with the set. So it's kind of nice. I like the idea of not taxing the pinball machine system. You know, some of the older games, it can draw some power away from it. I had a Twilight Zone for a long time, and I know that thing got really crazy when it sensed a voltage drop. So I had some reset issues with that. So the way I like to do it, I like to use the power brick, and I like to tap it into the service outlet inside the pinball machine. So you're really not having anything running outside of the machine. It keeps it nice and clean. So this stuff right here is going to come in the set, the Super Night set. You're going to have your LED strips, which are going to come in a roll. You're going to have the sensor, you're going to have your remote, you're going to have this cord which plugs into this, and then this is the power brick that powers the lights. So that's all going to come in the Super Night set. And then it's a good idea to get some of these. They're kind of hard to see, but they're 5-pin connectors. So these are how you're going to connect the different sections of cable. So we see over here we have some extension cables for the 5-pin connectors, so they just kind of snap right in there. You can get a bag of these. They're super cheap. I want to say it was probably $3 or $4 for a bag of 50 of them. You probably won't need any more than that ever. So you're also going to want to order, and I'll put links in the description to all these items. This is the 5-pin RGB&W cable, I believe it's called. So it's a 5-pin connector. If you're going to have white lights and colored lights, you need the 5-pin, not the 4-pin. So we have 2 of those extension cables, and you'll see how these are run when I do the install on the machine later on. And then you're also going to want 1 splitter. So this is just a Y splitter, again, 5-pin. What it's going to do is you're going to tap this. Now there's a little arrow on here on both of these, and you need to make sure that the arrows are matched up. So you're going to tap this in. Oh, wrong end. Here you go. You're going to put this in here with one of these 5-pin connectors. Make sure the arrows are matched up. Put them together. And then eventually, once you build your lights, you're going to use these extensions, which will come off of this Y splitter, one in each direction, and one will run to one set of lights, and one will run to the other. So I'll show you a little bit more about that when we get there. But as of right now, we're going to start building them. We also have extreme double-sided sticky tape. This stuff is really strong. I've found that this holds the lights onto the black 5/8 inch channeling. It's really actually corner guard. You can get it on Amazon too. So I use this tape to hold the lights onto the underside of the channel. This stuff's pretty gnarly. It's going to hold. If you put it on and you need to pull the light strip off, you can do it. But just be careful because it's really strong stuff. And then I also have this gigantic roll of magnetic tape. I believe it's 1/2-inch magnetic tape. So this is what you're going to use on the opposite side of your corner guard, your light rail. You're going to put 1 strip on the pinball, on the side of the pinball machine, and then you're going to put 1 strip on the back of these lights. And they're just going to work. So whenever you need to take the lights off to service something, lift the Playfield, just going to come right off and with the magnetic strips. So first thing we're going to do is you're going to take your 5/8 inch channeling here. You're going to take your channeling, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to take a tape measure, and you're going to want to measure the distance between the very back of the rail. I usually leave about 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. I measure from that point down to about 1/2 an inch before the rounded corner of the apron. So I'll get you a picture. I'll put it up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And then most machines that I find are 32 and 3/8. That's the size. All my black channeling, I cut to 32 and 3/8. So you can see here, I've actually already cut this piece, but I just did it with just a mini hacksaw. I don't really know what kind of saw it's called, but it has blades like hacksaw on it. Just cut a nice straight line with it. I used to use a Dremel, but Dremel gets little plastic bits everywhere, and gets a little crazy if you don't hold on to it really tight. So anyways, what I did was I've already cut my channeling at 32 inches, 32 and 3/8 actually. And then what I'll do is I'll take, let's see, here we go. I'll just take a file, something like this, and I'll just go over the edges and just clean it up a little bit. And then once that's nice and clean, I will take a lighter, still working, and I'll just gently go over it just to clean it up, smooth out the edge, make it look a little pretty. You know, you don't want the edges looking all junky, especially if it's a bottom edge at the bottom of the pinball and you're going to see the corner. So just clean that up a little bit, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff. Most of this stuff most of the stuff we're going to do today you can do with just tools you have around the house. This is priceless though when it comes to building these lights, so I would recommend that you definitely get one of these, and you'll see why in just a few minutes. So with the LED strips, I'm going to go ahead and show you when I build these. So this is cut at 32 3/8, this black channeling. So what I'll do is, now keep in mind, if you've taken this out of the box for the first time, there's going to be a connector that looks like this already on here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put this on here, and then every so often there's a section where it shows on these lights where you can cut it. You don't want to cut it in the middle, you want to cut it where it connects to the next piece. So on this one, you're going to hold it end to end, and then you're going to see that right here is going to be the ideal situation. You're going to cut it right here, so you're going to take your scissors, and I will go ahead and do this now because I'm probably going to build another set of lights soon. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to just cut it right in the middle of those two pieces. Alright, so there's one, and now remember, we're going to make two. So if you're doing this at home and you're making lights, just remember everything you're doing here, you're going to do it twice. So go, this is going to be the next section right here, same length. Just go ahead and cut it. Alright, put this out of the way somewhere. That roll will have enough, I think, to make probably 3 sets of lights, just one roll. Now when it comes in the box, you're only going to get one power brick, one remote, and then one power cord when you do that. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to build 3 sets of lights out of it, but you can do the LED section. You can order these things separately. I think the power brick you can get by itself for like $10, and the remote might be like $6. So, you know, it's still pretty cheap. You know, if you get enough leftover LED, you can order those pieces right there and save yourself a lot of money. So now these are the strips. I'm going to substitute the ones that I've already made for these, save a little time. And so here you go. These are the 2 that I've already made. So take these out of here. Alright, so the next step is we're going to attach this light strip to the rails. Now on this particular one, I'll show you on the old ones. So this already has adhesive on the back of it, but the adhesive on it is not very good. And that's what I figured out over the past year building these lights, is the adhesive on the back of these is not good, hence using the extreme double-sided sticky tape. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this light right here, you're going to peel off a little bit of the paper on the back, and then you're going to start peeling the gummy sticky part actually off of the pinball lights. So you're actually removing the sticky tape. So you can see here, it's not just the paper, I'm actually taking off the sticky tape. Just go slow when you do this. If you just try and rip it off, manhandle it, every once in a while you can pull off some of the paint on the back of this, the metal covering the white paint on the back of this, and it can actually make it so that 2 of the different lines can touch each other on this. So just be careful, be gentle when you take this off. But you can see we're almost done here. And I'm going to pull this back into the camera. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to take this. This is now garbage. Throw that over there into the garbage, allegedly. So now we have the LED lights right here, and there's no real sticky material on the back of these. Alright, I've already peeled the sticky material off the back of these. I put these together about a week ago. So now I'm going to substitute the ones I have ready. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut this extreme double-sided sticky tape in half. I've tried the smaller section, the 1/2 inch one that's already pre-cut. This is the inch wide. The 1/2 inch one for some reason doesn't seem to stick very well. This stuff is awesome. So I like to cut this in half. So what I'll do is I'll take out a board. I'm going to pull this out here, and I'm going to make a little mark. Just make sure I have enough to go a little bit over the edge. Gonna cut this. All right, put this away. Now the best way to do this, I've found, is to use the X-Acto knife, because you can't put anything on here because it's super sticky. So what I like to do is I'll take my X-Acto knife, I'll put it in the middle, give it a pretty good push, and just go slow, and just kind of eyeball it. You want to try and go down the middle of the tape. Don't get too far on one side or the other. So we're just going to go down to here. Okay. Move this a little further off camera. And then jump back in. Okay, so, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it pretty close to the center. And you'll see why when we actually trim this. So I'm going to go ahead, pull these two pieces apart. Try not to let them stick to each other. All right, so I'm going to set one of these aside. Okay. All right, we're done with this. So we're going to take this corner guard. It's black corner guard. Again, this is 5/8 by 5/8 of an inch. Just normal black corner guard. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right on here, and I'm going to try and get it pretty close to the top. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it close, and you're just going to go ahead and gently push it down. You don't want to push it down real hard yet, because if you do need to pick this up and move it, like I said, it's pretty sticky stuff. But if you push it down really hard and you leave it there for a little while, then you come back later and try to clean it up, it may not want to play nice. So I'm going to go ahead and just gently push it down. Okay. And you see this is I cut this long on purpose. So, all right, it's looking good. So just push that down. Okay. All right. Now we're going to take our X-Acto knife again, and we're going to push down till you hear it. It'll go through the tape, and we're going to leave just maybe like 2/8 of an inch. Sorry, that's a quarter actually, isn't it? All right. We're going to leave 1/4 of an inch. Maybe a little less. Maybe an 1/8 of an inch. And you're going to cut it on there, so you have a tiny little bit there. And we're going to come down here. We're not going to cut this one yet, and you'll see why in a second. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take our strip of lights. Now you can see right here, this is the shrink wrap piece. This has been soldered together. So it's been soldered together right here. There we go. It's been soldered together right here, and then I use some heat shrink over it. The ones that come out of the box will be the same exact way. So when I put this down on top of the double-sided sticky tape, I'm going to try and get about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit less of this heat shrink onto the double-sided sticky tape. The reason being is if you only put it onto the white strip right here, and you move this around, it could kind of wear out the filament or wires or whatever it is right here and break them over time. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put part of this down on top of the double-sided sticky tape, maybe about an 1/8 of an inch or maybe a 1/4 of an inch, just about like that. So this one right here, when these come out of the box, one of the things you want to do when you get out of the box, these will be a little bit longer, but what you're going to want to do is these wires are all together and they're kind of stuck together. So what you're going to want to do very gently is you're going to want to pull each individual wire just away from the other one. Obviously not at either end, but in the open section you can see you're going to want to separate the wires. Okay, and the reason being is if you don't separate them, this thing is super stiff, and when you try and plug these into the pinball machine, what's going to end up happening is they're not going to want to bend. So you can see here, these are really flexible. They'll bend in pretty much any direction. They'll do that as long as you separate these wires. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and this is a tricky bit too, is we're going to go ahead and pull this red tape off. Now once you cut this, it's really hard to get under the edge. The best thing I found to do is take your X-Acto knife. You can kind of start getting it peeled back, and then go ahead, pull that red strip right off. Set it down here. So for these, here's what I like to do is I find it's a little easier if I do it this way. I'm right-handed, flip it around. So I like to kind of curl up the back end of this just so I can kind of keep it in my hand so it doesn't drop down onto. Now you don't want to bend this really hard, but you can just kind of roll it up. So I'm going to start right here, and again I'm going to put about 1/8 of an inch onto the double-sided sticky tape, and you're going to want to gently, as you go, do each individual light. Press it down. You want to make sure it's up against the edge. It's tucked under the edge, but you're going to want to go on each individual light and push down. Now don't put too much pressure on this section. Don't make it super tight like you're trying to stretch the lights. Just kind of let it fall naturally, put a little pressure on it. So each one of these lights you're going to go through and just tap it down. Just tap it down gently. You're going to go through the whole thing, all the way to the end. This is actually pretty easy once you've built a set or two. For me, I've had several pinball machines this year, and I just decided that I was going to build lights for them about a year ago, and I've just kind of been refining this process. But it's pretty simple once you get it down. The hardest part was, for the longest time, I wasn't searching for black corner guard in 5/8 inch. I was buying clear corner guard at Home Depot or Lowe's and spray painting it. And I can tell you, if you can find the corner guard on Amazon, the 5/8 inch, buy it. It's so much easier. That was the most time-consuming part of this whole process, was painting the corner guard. So I'm almost done with this first section of lights. So I'm going to go to the end, push it down. So I'm just going to come back up here. I'm going to go over the whole thing again, just push it down with my thumb. And one of the things you're going to notice is the double-sided sticky tape. There's excess double-sided sticky tape. So we've got about maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little more between here and here. Again, here's where your X-Acto knife comes in. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to this end. This is all double-sided sticky tape. It's probably a little hard to see on camera, but this is all double-sided sticky tape. So just go to the very end of the light strip, push down, get a nice little cut in there, and you can use this X-Acto knife to peel up a little corner of the section you want to remove, and then simply just pull on it. I like to stretch this tape because if you've cut a line into it and you stretch it, it'll actually break right at the line. So this section right here has no double-sided sticky tape on it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the X-Acto knife and we're going to cut all the excess off going down. This is pretty easy. Just take your time. Just follow the white metal of the LED lights. Okay, so just be careful you don't, if you're doing this, just don't try and go too fast, because if you go too fast, sometimes you can slide into the LED lights. So you can see it's pretty simple. I like to put the back side of my pinky on this rail right here, hold it this one, and use pressure here and on my fingers to push it down. And just go slow, take your time. If you mess up cutting it and it's not in a straight line and there's some excess there, you can go back and trim it. It's not the end of the world. It's pretty simple. So, all right. We are almost to the end. Be careful when you get to the end where the connector is. You don't want to accidentally cut the wires on the end right here. So when you get down here, just slow down a little bit and make sure you don't cut anything you're not supposed to cut down there. So then go ahead down here, grab the corner. Again, with this one, just stretch it. Do it slow like this. So this is actually all coming off right now. This is all the excess. So it may break on you, depending. If you leave about 1/8 of an inch over on each side, if you have about 1/8 of an inch, it typically will come off in one long piece like it is right now. If it's smaller than that, it can break pretty easily, but it's not a big deal. Just a little extra work. Garbage. So here you can see we have a nice rail right here. We have our LED lights, which are mounted to it with extreme double-sided sticky tape. So this section should be all ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and probably not talk as much, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do the other light. And I will point out, when you do attach the second set of lights, it's important. If you attach it the wrong way, you're going to have 2 lights for one side, which is not a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the second section. So if you just want a quick refresher as far as what I did, go ahead right now and do that. And then we get to the section about mounting the light strip onto the black channeling. I will show you what you got to make sure you do. All right. That is how you build the LED light rails. It's pretty simple. As you can see, I now have 2 lights. These are all on the correct sides. What I like to do, just to be safe, just go through, push them down again. Just be gentle. Just tap them down. All right. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to test these bad boys. I actually tested a light strip. That's something important that you're going to want to do. When you get your light strip in the big roll, like this, just go ahead and plug it in. Make sure the whole thing works. Check the remote. Make sure the sensor works. I haven't had one yet that showed up that hasn't worked. So we're going to test these to make sure they work. So like I said, you're going to take your... this is your power. This is where the power comes into this, and it goes to the sensor for the remote, and then it sends a cable out. Make sure the arrows are lined up on this. I don't know if you can see that, but there's 2 arrows on there. Maybe not. They're both on this side. So you're going to put a connector in the middle of them. Just put them together. Like that. And then take 5-pin connector. Put one in each of the Y pieces. like so. It's really hard to see, but there's one here, I put them in. So we're going to connect. Now this is important. When you connect these wires, there's a black, green, red, blue, and white. You're going to want the black to line up with the arrow on this. Okay, same thing on this one. Black one's right here. Line up the black arrows like that. Now for this, we're going to take the power brick, going to plug it into here. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera. Plug it here, like so. Then we're going to take the power cord, plug it in, plug it into the power brick. So, go ahead and take the remote out. Oh, already on. So, take the remote out. There's a little plastic slip in here. Just pull it out. Okay, so here we go. The lights are on. Okay, and then just aim the remote at the sensor. And you're going to just press a solid color. You can kind of work your way through. I think the camera's having a hard time picking up the colored lights, but they are colored lights. You can kind of see them in their reflection here. So they're working. Okay, so I'm going to shut off. You can see I'm going to shut off the white lights. So those are just the colored lights. Just make sure it all works. So, all right. That is how you build the light rails for the pinball machine. All right, so this all works. This is all good. Go ahead and disconnect this. So one of the other things you're going to need when you do your install, again, I'll link these. These are little sticky tabs. So what's going to happen is when you have these wires, I used to use a system where I drilled a tiny little hole in the inside of the cabinet and put a cable management tie with a screw into the side of the pinball machine. I found these work a lot better. So you can pull off this double-sided sticky tape, and I'll show you when I do the install of the lights into the machine. You know, this is going to be on the inside, kind of hidden in the back. Just going to clip this in here. It's free to move. So when you need to connect or disconnect the lights, you're going to have a 5-pin connector in this extension, like so. And then this is going to go right here. Oh, black cable to the arrow, of course. Black cable to the arrow. And then this is going to mount on the inside of your pinball cabinet. And then that way, this little cable is going to come out from behind the backboard on each side. So depending on your pinball machine, you got to look for the ideal place to put the cable coming out for the light rail. So this is going to be inside of the box, and it's going to sit on the rail like that. So one more thing we're going to do, I'm going to do a separate video when we actually install these into the machine, but there's one more thing that we got to do to finish up these lights. Now that we know they work, everything's looking good, and that is the magnetic tape. So here's what I like to do for this. So you're going to take this roll of magnetic tape, again I think this is 1/2 inch wide, and just unwind a piece. You know, you're going to want this to come about 1/8 of an inch from each end. I like to cut a little bit extra because it always seems to stretch a little bit. So cut a little extra. Maybe like 1/8 of an inch or so. Okay. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take another roll of this. So one of these sides is going to be mounted to the back of the pinball machine, to the side of the pinball machine. The other one's going to be mounted to the back of the lights. The polarity on them, you need to make sure that you get the polarity right when you actually install them, and I'll show you an easy way to do that. Because you can see here, it's offset. That's the way it's naturally sitting. But if you spin this around, it's going to line up perfectly. So what I like to do, just take the one you cut, that's the right size, drop it right onto another section right here, Okay, we'll flip this over. Okay, those ends are just about even. We're going to go ahead, we're going to cut this here. So that is the magnetic strip for there. So about 1/8 of an inch from here, and then come down here to the end, make a mark, about 1/8 of an inch from then down here as well. Said just use the X-Acto knife, cut it. All right. So we've got magnetic strips for that one. We're going to do the same thing down here. Take a strip of this, cut a little bit extra. Again, it always seems to get a little wonky and stretch out. Okay, cut right here. I'm actually pretty excited as I just picked up a brand new Jurassic Park Pro, and I'm building the lights for it, but unfortunately I'm putting side art in it too, so I cannot install these lights until I get my side art. So I'm going to do a video on the side art too. I put some side art into my Ghostbusters. I absolutely loved it. I was kind of always, I never really thought, it's not a big deal, I don't need it. But, there's some games where you start putting side art into it. It looks really neat. So I'm going to go ahead and put some side art into my Jurassic Park Pro and just change the look of it a bit. Sorry if you hear the dog. He apparently has decided he's defending the house right now. Alright, so cut this second one. Alright, put this away. We don't need this anymore. We're done with magnetic tape for the day. Alright. So here's what I'm going to do now. Now this is something I learned. This helps out a lot. If you don't do this, you will have this magnetic tape will come off when you pull this. This is a pretty strong bond between these two things right here. These two magnets over this giant area. It's a strong bond. So if you don't do this, you're going to end up potentially pulling the magnetic tape on the back of this strip off of there. So here's what I found seems to be the easiest thing to do. So separate these two strips, and then where did it go? Here we go. Original Gorilla Glue. This is not the wood glue. This is for all sorts of surfaces. So we're going to put a thin layer of this Gorilla Glue, and it's going to be on the side. So if you look at this, the lights are right here. The lights are right here on this side, so you're going to want it right behind the lights. So the lights are on the opposite side of this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a thin dab, very, very thin dab of this stuff on. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on the camera, but I'm talking really thin. Really thin. Don't put a whole lot on here because when this stuff dries, it kind of foams up a little bit. I'm just going to go all the way down. Like I said, use a little. You don't need to use a ton on this because you use a ton, it'll come out the side of the magnetic tape when it dries. And then you have to use the X-Acto knife, and you're going to be trimming off the yellow air bubble glue that has come out the side of the tape. So again, just don't use too much. Alright. So, alright, that one has the glue on it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to peel off the backing of this magnetic tape. And then we are going to grab this. Now, I like to do this stand up, so I'm going to back away from the table. It's a little easier this way. So I'm going to hold this out so you can see it, the bottom won't be touching anything. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right in the middle of the rail. Just get it started and put my thumb on it. And then I'm slowly, don't pull it, slowly going to go ahead and I'm going to push it on here. Don't stretch it either. Just go ahead. Try and keep it in the middle. Nice and clean in the middle. So keep going down. Right here. All right. Keep going. Here, almost done. Okay. What I like to do once you get to the ends, I like to put a tiny bit of extra glue on the ends, because that's the place where it's going to come. If it's going to come off, that's the place it's going to come off first. So just a little bit of extra glue here on the end. Again, not too much, nothing crazy. Just push that down. Okay. Up here and do the same thing. Just going to peel that back a tiny little bit. Going to put a little bit of glue just to make sure the end doesn't come undone. Push it back down. Alright. So the magnetic tape is on this one. So I like to just set it flat. Again, walk your fingers down the edge of it. And then this is key. I learned this one. Painter's tape. So get a piece about that big. Go to the end. Put it over the tape that you just put on. Pull it nice and snug. Okay. And you're just going to wrap it. You're going to wrap it. Pull it tight. Okay. Put it on there tight like that. Just wrap it. This piece of tape's a little bit long for this. Maybe a little bit shorter. You're going to wrap it. Pull it tight when you do the tape on there. What this is going to do is I'm going to let these lights sit overnight so that glue takes hold, so you get a really nice strong bond. So I'm going to put one on each end, and then I'm going to put one in the middle. We got a little bit of glue over out the end of this one. I'm just going to wipe that off with my finger. All right. So we're going to tape on here, pull it really tight, go around, and just wrap tight. Okay, so do one more. Do this one right in the middle. So, piece of tape here. Pull it tight around. There you go. Alright, so this light is done. So I'm going to let this light sit. This light's going to sit probably until tomorrow. Like I said, my side art's not coming in for a couple days. So just going to let it sit like that. Put it aside. Forget about it for a day. When you come back, that'll be on there solid. So now remember, keep the piece that you cut with the set with those and let everybody know how it goes. So alright, so here we have our two sets of lights that are going to be ready to go. As far as this goes, I'm just going to set these aside. Here's the magnetic strips for each of them, and I will pick up with the next video when we actually install these. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something and play a lot of pinball.